Good morning, everybody. I am coming to you live with another amazing panelist. So this is our pivot panel, and we have an incredible group here for you today. I would say this group are definitely on the forefront of providing a ton of clarity, a ton of direction, not only for their particular databases, but also for their teams, anyone in their organization. And they know this business in and out, and they have provided the best tools and resources online and staying present. So I'm so happy to have you guys this morning to share some tools and techniques with everybody. So I'm just going to kind of go around a quick introduction so everyone online knows who you are. So Vanessa, I will start with you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Amanda, so much for having me on today. And so great to be part of this amazing panel of realtors and business owners. My name is Vanessa Barnez, and I am the team lead for the Barnez team. And I've been in business since 2002. Like Carrie, started with new construction as well and sold a lot of vacation homes to the international market. Survived the short sale era and when we had our recession, and excited to be part of new adventures and helping our clients through this uncertain time. So thank you so much for letting us be part of this.
Of course, thank you for being here. Bobby?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, same thing, super honored to be a part of this panel. Celebration title always brings the best people together, and I'm happy that I've actually met some of you guys through Celebration, so excited to be on. But my name is Bobby Davidowitz. Been in the industry about 18 years, started in the mortgage business, got my real estate license in 2005. Currently, I am one of the owners of the Alliance Group at eXp Realty in downtown. My business partner is Gil Ramos. We've got about 663 agents nationwide in about 7 states. And we're just really focused on coaching agents, developing agents, and growing the team. And then me personally, I'm kind of a deal hunter. So I like to do commercial and residential and find deals out there and get a few deals done, but really focused on building the team right now.
Perfect. Thank you. Carrie?
Unmute yourself, Carrie.
Unmute, Carrie.
Well, I didn't have to start over.
Amanda, we've a million times this week.
I've been Zooming all day. I'm kind of zoomed out, to be honest, but I'm really happy to be here, part of this great panel. And I'm the managing broker for 4 different Premier Sothebys offices, and started, as Vanessa said, like her, in new construction back in 2004. Became a regional director for a builder. So during that downturn, I was with the builder, saw an opportunity with the foreign market, and decided to leave and start my own international brokerage where I took product to South America, which did lead me a lot into working in Miami, sadly, and doing a lot of commercials. So you never know where real estate can take you. But I'm really thrilled to be here. And I'm also a licensed real estate instructor, and I do a lot of training on social media. Thanks for having me. And I'm glad to help everybody and really learn from everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie. I feel like we're going to learn a lot from you today. Brian, it looks like you already have a fan, of course, on social media.
Hey, Dusty. Love her. She is the reason. Her and Celebration is why I'm where I am today. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. I'm so honored to share this panel with all of you amazing people. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. I'm Brian Griffin. I'm the team lead with the Griffin Difference. I'm with Ocean's Luxury Realty here in the Daytona Beach area. I am newer agent of 2 years. I started in July of 2018, if you believe it or not. Last year, topped some sales deals and met some number goals that I didn't think I could, and I did it and exceeded it. So I was excited. So 2020, I teamed up and I started adding some members to this great Griffin Difference. And I'm so excited to be here and share with you some things, tools and tricks that helped me along the way and how I'm handling this new normal we're going through at the moment. So welcome, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you, Brian, so much. And Sean?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Frank. I'm the founder and CEO of Mainframe Real Estate. We're one of the largest independent companies in Central Florida. We opened an office in St. Pete in December, and our focus really is providing marketing and technology solutions for agents that are seasoned and successful.
I gotta unmute myself. So really kind of the purpose of today is just to figure out how you guys have adjusted. You know, many of you have people on your teams, or you run a large office or four, right, Carrie? So I want to figure out, you know, how have you shifted your overall business? What pivots in service and products? How are you really increasing your overall efficiencies given the conditions that are going on? And I'll actually start with you, Carrie.
Well, I have to say, it's been really exciting to see the agents really take this new challenge and embrace it and run with it. So we're very focused on, we have wonderful digital tools. So we've really focused on turning virtual. So we're doing virtual open houses. We're letting people sign up on the website for virtual tours. And we're really focused on trying to engage people without having to have them leave their home. Also, we do have a lot of foreign customers, being more in the luxury market. A lot of our folks are out of town. So they are still allowing us to show homes. We're still getting listings, which is exciting. And we're even doing virtual listing presentations. So I will tell you that get used to Zoom or whatever medium you like, go to meeting, but it's wonderful to be able to communicate with people, let them know what's happening in the market. It's not all doom and gloom, but you just need to be prepared to show them everything and speak to them in a way that they can truly see their value utilizing the virtual scene that we're in now today.
Perfect. I love that. And we were just talking about that on a panel yesterday, how the increase of the international market with the exchange rate, right? So people are able to really drop price of houses right now and still walk away with the same amount of money they would have 6 months, a year ago. So it's pretty incredible what the international market is doing. And I know Vanessa will be able to attest to that as well. Brian, if you'll share with us what tools and techniques. I know you've always had a massive presence online. So what is it really looking like different for you?
You know, kind of going what Carrie's saying is we already had the digital tools. It's really about now actually forcing you to utilize them. You know, we did a virtual listing presentation that the house coming to market this weekend we're super excited about. You know, I have sellers that have like diabetes or different types of ailments. So it's like we're doing the virtual tours, more push. You know, I keep the engagement through the team and even through through the brokerage is helping everybody else adapt to that. And it's really amazing the positive outcome that we are seeing with the digital forums that everybody is using. And so I'm pleased to say, just like Carrie was, like, it is cool because we get to keep up with the market and we're staying ahead of it. And so many people aren't utilizing video, if you believe it or not, you know, and so I'm just all about push, use the digital forums. They're really helping people feel connected. Celebration has been doing some happy hours, for example. I attended one of those that was a virtual, and that was really cool because you need that human interaction, and we're all like confined in quarantine, but to be able to give a face, even though it's a digital face and we cannot touch, it's still a personal touch to your business. And that's what I'm really proud to say that we've really instilled moving forward and how we pivoted and shifted, just really focusing on that.
I love that. So just staying present online and being that digital mayor, which I know you are out there in Daytona, which is great to see.
You have to.
And, yes, Sean, from your perspective, and what does your operations look like? I know you run 2 offices that are in 2 different markets. So how is that looking for your team?
Well, you know, the thing, just like Brian was just saying, we had a lot of tools. We were already live streaming all of our office meetings. We already had a lot of those things in place, but people didn't utilize it. So now we're doing everything virtually and we're getting higher attendance than we've ever gotten at office meetings, physical and digital combined. Before, we're exceeding those numbers now, which is great because people are really looking for that interaction and the collaboration. I would say first thing we did at the office was we started weekly meetings just to mastermind about what's going on. I think the first and most important thing was when there was a lot of confusion and news hitting every day. We wanted our agents to be informed because there were so many changes with MLS, with instant offers. Like there were things that every week we needed to touch base about all the changes that were going on, because just MLS has made like 5 or 6 rule changes since then. And they're really easy to miss if you're not on the pulse of all these things. So so that was first and foremost. You know, and the other thing too with the masterminds is that I think that some of the agents were like, thank you for doing this. I'm not as scared as I was an hour ago. I'm not as I'm not as nervous as I was because I was watching the news. Like, it helped them find a sense of optimism because they're hearing with stories what other agents are doing. I mean, even at the beginning, it was best precautions for showings. What do you need to do when you show a property to be safe? You know, and let's talk that out. Let's talk about how you can take things you were doing physically and now find a virtual component. So all of that's been huge because I think that the sense of community and the sense that we're in it together, I think, has made a big difference for the agents. Plus the constant use and update sharing. The other thing that we had to pivot like almost immediately was, you know, once the stay-at-home order happened for Orange County, we realized we didn't want our office admin at the office just to accept FedEx and UPS checks. And that was the only reason he needed to be there. So within 2 weeks, we opened new bank accounts. We had to go through all these elaborate processes to avoid wire fraud. And within like a week and a half, 2 weeks, all of our commission checks are coming in wire transfers now, no more checks. And it was, you know, it was something that sounded like a nice idea, but you don't do that kind of thing in 2 weeks unless you have to. So it was an amazing change. And so now we've got it so that we don't have to worry about paper checks or deliveries to the office. And we've actually got it now where we're operating completely virtually and electronically. Even though we could do it before, we've been forced to do it to a new level, which has been kind of amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So you guys have just been really a good source of clarity for your agent, continuing to push that online platform. And I know that you built out your online platform, so your ability to shift your agents, that virtual is pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, well, just for example, what we did with our closing instructions and wire instructions, we couldn't have done without custom software, because so much of it is you need multiple checks and balances to prevent wire fraud. So fortunately, we had the ability to have our developers on it, figure out our processes, and launch something within a week, basically. It took longer to set up the bank account than it did to put some of the processes in place. But yeah, and it makes a big difference to have the ability to adapt, because I know sometimes you're waiting on corporate to make decisions that trickle down. So it was really nice that when it was an emergency, we could handle it right away, pretty much.
Yeah, and from a title company's perspective, we love the wire transfers for sure. So it put traffic out of the office as well for our team. Bobby, from your perspective, you know, I know EXP has always been virtual. So how has it really shifted for you? What did the overall operations look like? And I know that you guys have a very unique culture where you still have an office, even though EXP is virtual. So what does that look like for you? And is it still kind of a hybrid?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of unique in the EXP model. We actually decided to keep physical office space. You know, we always said that we did a couple of things really well, which is personal development, coaching, and culture. And we always felt very tied to having a space and a classroom space in order for agents to get together, for us to coach agents and make them productive. You know, EXP already had wonderful technology, EXP World, which is a virtual world where they themselves were doing 24 hours of live training a week, but we also had access to use it. But like many of you guys, we weren't using the tools that we had because we were just so used to doing things the old way. And now with this kind of shift, it has really just shifted the mindset. And I think that's the opportunity here is, you know, I don't want to waste the pandemic. You know, and that's my mindset right now. And when I hear you guys talk, you know, what you guys are doing is capitalizing. You know, I think when there's huge shifts like this in the market, you're either going to get caught or you're going to capitalize, right? And I'll be honest with you, in 2008, I got caught. You know, I was caught in that 2008 thing, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is what's going to make me strong for the next shift. Now, I couldn't have seen a pandemic coming, but now that it's here, me and my business partner Gil have been doing a lot of what you guys have been doing. So we're really focused on making agents productive. I think that the misconception of the EXP model that it's all about recruiting. Well, so are all brokerages, but the reality is if an agent doesn't close the deal, nobody makes money. So we have to make sure that agents produce. And the reason that I partnered up with my business partner Gil was because when I first met him, you know, he said, I believe in developing people, and I do too. So now what's happened is we're actually doing more training now than ever. I mean, I've probably done about 6 hours of Zoom training this week for our agents, and actually even opening it up. I think I think this is the time that if there's been anything on your list that you've been wanting to do, and for Gil and I, it's really expanding our coaching brand. Now is the time to just put it out in the world because everybody's watching. So we've actually been opening up a lot of our classes to anybody from any brokerage. I've been trying to get on as many Zoom calls and panels as possible, and even interview other people to get their perspective, very much like what you're doing right now. And then also coaching the agents to let them know that, you know, I don't believe there's a bad market. You know, I put a post up the other day that, you know, there's no such thing as bad weather, only inappropriate clothing. And so, you know, when the market shifts like this, what you got to look for is the opportunity. You know, investors are going to start coming out of the woodwork. There's going to be some sellers that are really going to need our help right now. You know, Zillow offers, OfferPad, Open Door, pulling out of their deals. You know, people are left out there. There's sellers that really might need the money right now and must sell. And so there's a window right now that I think that we can really help customers out there. And we're trying to show the agents that you're more valuable than ever because of this, rather than don't hole up in your house and think that the whole world's coming to an end. You know, open your blinders up and see what the opportunities are and take advantage of them.
I love that. Thanks, Bobby, for sharing. Vanessa, what your current operations look like, and your team? I know that you worked out of the KW Celebration office and have a pretty decent sized operations team. You know, what does that look like for you now, and how are you guys still staying connected and shifting overall?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, as a business owner, it's one of those things when you have a time of uncertainty and you have to really look at your expenses more detailed than you ever have before. I think that, you know, you have to make some tough choices. The choices I made were to keep my staff because they've been with me. You know, Gretchen, for example, has been with me for 10 years. And she's helped me develop my team and get me to where I am today. So we had to make some tough choices and say, okay, how are we going to get through this crisis and uncertainty as a team, and, you know, really working together. You know, it's interesting that, you know, technology and I have a love-hate relationship. So I'm not as technologically advanced as some. But it's really pushed me to be uncomfortable. And through this, I'm becoming much more comfortable than I ever have about doing things virtually. And I'm not sure if a lot of people feel that way. You know, it's like, you like your normal routine and you like to do things a certain way, but you have to change with the times. You know, it's time to make those modifications in your business and become more comfortable with FaceTime. You don't have to be perfect. You know, people just want to see you and who you are when talking to clients, when talking to your team members. We do a lot more FaceTime, Zoom meetings. I mean, I'm like, I don't care if you took a shower today. That's fine. I just want to see you, because I think, again, it's important. I think a lot of the panelists touch on this. You need that social kind of interaction and just that you're not alone. You're not isolated. So I think just being okay with change and taking advantage, like Bobby said, you know, this is an opportunity for us to grow and to develop our team members, to develop, you know, relationships with our clients and go deeper.
Perfect. I love that. I was listening to a podcast last night that was talking just about that, where it's like, don't let this opportunity pass you by without really taking advantage of looking at your priorities and what's most important. So when do we get like 30 days to really look at our business and think about ourselves and what we can change and prioritize, right? So that's really important. So, and Vanessa's also a mom of 2 young boys. So I don't know how you're managing virtual school with 2 elementary age children, right? So you want to add a little bit on that?
I have the door locked right now because they've come up many times trying to come into the room. So I was like, Mommy's on a call and my computer's going to die. So I'm going to have to step out for a minute and get my charger, just so you know, I'm going to step out of the frame. But my husband has been amazing. My husband and I actually work as a team. He's my field specialist. So he does all my showings and all the things in the field, lock boxes and things of that nature. So he works with a lot of my buyers. So it's been an interesting dynamic, because I told him, I said, you know, I have to continue running the business. So you're going to be in charge of the kids. So he is, what was that?
I said, just put your foot down. You're like, you've got the kids, okay.
We have to divide and conquer. I mean, we have to make sacrifices during this time. And, I think, it's definitely was an adjustment and challenge at first, but he understands that this is what needs to be done right now in this season, right? This is just a season. Think about the season. It's just temporary. This too shall pass. But the kids have enjoyed being at home and having mom and dad home. I mean, they have. So so he's in charge of homeschooling. God bless him.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And Carrie just wanted to add one more thing. I'll let you grab your charger, Vanessa. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, actually, it was in regards to what he had said with the foreign market. One thing I would say, you guys all touched on it, we want to be ahead of the trends. And right now, everybody obviously is the social distancing, but let's be honest, we're physically distancing, but we need to be socially connecting. So I think it's important that we're really sharing information, and we're not predictors, right? We can't predict anything, but if we share the positives of what's happening, I think it really will add some clarity. But to that foreign market, people who had purchased several years ago, especially Brazilians, today the reais is about 5.5. So if you bought a few years ago at 1%, even if your home didn't increase in value, imagine your increase in rate of return right there, even if you didn't even make $1 off of the purchase price, which we know obviously a lot of these things have equity as well. So just wanted to bring that up too.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't in tune with any foreign currency exchange company, you definitely need to be. They're sending out market updates, whether it's Money Corp or Currencies Direct, every single day. And there was an amazing one with the UK as well yesterday, and they're all home. So you can connect with them now more than ever. So that's super important. So kind of the next question is just going into that, right? Is what does the messaging look like now? Whether or not you're in production, or what is your messaging to your agents that you're really coaching them to tell their clients? And I'll start with you, Sean.
Well, I think the first thing comes down to trying to stop the spread of misinformation, because I feel like there's so much of that still going on right now that we have to almost make sure everybody's calming down and making sure that we're having a level head about some of the things that are going on right now. For what we tell our agents is that they need to hustle more than ever, build the pipeline. They don't know what's coming up next. And I look at this, what's happening now is like what happened in 2008. The playing field is being completely leveled. Anybody who was at top before might not be on the top after this all comes out. And it's all going to shift and change. So this is an opportunity really to, when the playing field is leveled, you can end up anywhere in that spectrum once this thing is over. So we're really trying to make sure our agents understand that this is not a vacation or a staycation. This is an opportunity to work harder than you've ever worked, because if this goes on for months more, a lot of people aren't ready for that. So somebody's going to pick up the business right now. There is business to pick up, and I'm really trying to make sure that our agents are seeing that this is not a time to relax and wait for it to pass. This is a time to double down, go deeper with your relationships. Check on people. How are you doing? Is there anything I can do to help? The people are craving social interaction right now. And I think to a large degree, if we're not making an attempt to reach out and connect with people, we're getting further and further out of not top of mind, for our relationships are diminishing. So I think doubling down on all of that's really important. But then when it comes to what, the agents are telling customers, it's such a case-by-case situation. And, unfortunately, nobody can predict the future. So, one of the things that we're saying is that all we know right now is right now, and if somebody's thinking about listing, it's like, it's predictable now. It's not predictable in 3 months. Same thing on the buy side. You just have no idea what's going to happen. So we just have to, I realize that there are a lot of buyers that are going to get cold feet now, and we can't tell them it's a good time to buy if they don't believe it either. So we just have to, just as much as ever, just consult, find out what's really important for the buyers and sellers, and then give them the best advice we can, and then let them make the decision, just like always. But now I just think it's more important than ever to just provide to provide the information that is not on social media, that is not on the news. There's so much stuff that is not helpful for our business if you go look, poke around and see what's out there. So we really need to find the information that is helpful and make sure we're conveying that, not the fear mongering that the mainstream media is doing.
I love that. So you're definitely trying to be the voice of calm above the storm. And I love that Brian is like, he's ready to talk right now. So I'm just going to let Brian go next to you. Something you're saying.
I couldn't agree more with Sean. Like he hit that nail right on the head for me. I was living life on that energy, on all of that statement, because I preach that every day to all my colleagues in my community and on my team, just because it's where we had to shift also as realtors, that we had to shift our dollars. Like my savings account right now is going down, but my marketing campaign is going on point and up, because it's those faces, because familiarity is what breeds content. And that's what people need right now, is content in these times. And then people need household names they can trust. So seeing your face, constantly being out there, I'm constantly pushing that marketing platform and making sure we're shifting our dollars in that way into a marketing sense, so that when in 3 months from now, because we cannot predict the future, when we're 3 months down the road and we're still in the crises, because they're only releasing it in 2 weeks and 30-day increments, so they can avoid chaos. And it's like, I want to be that face they see in 3 months, and I want to be that face they see in 6 months. And I just keep pushing that to the team, to all of our colleagues in the area that will listen, that's wanting to structure their business for success and keep it going. I'm also grooming our team members as I do more of a mentor right now, as it's new to me. So it's always about like touching the pipeline, revisiting old clients, those that sat dormant before, revisit with them, do a video chat to them, get back, send a message of positivity, let them know that we're here, we're still doing production, we're still working, we're just doing it in a new way, and let them know that it's okay for the change, and that everybody, and make it positive and show no negativity on it. And you'll be amazed with the feedback you get back, but going back to like what Sean was saying, it really comes down to just being that marketing and consistent right now and just surviving the time. But I loved it. Yeah. That's what I had to say.
I love that. And I love how you were like, someone's gonna pick up the deals, and Brian's like me. He's saying to himself. I don't know if you saw that. That was great.
Well,
so I love
that, Amanda, because agents in our area right now are all like looking out the window, wondering what's going on, why they're not doing anything. I was on a phone call just the other day with a friend that has nothing in escrow, and she's a well-seasoned agent, all this stuff. And you kind of like think about like, wow, they've been in the community a lot longer than me. What are they doing differently that I'm doing differently, where my phone's still ringing, I'm still getting virtual listing appointments and virtual showings and virtual open houses and all this stuff happening? How is it that they're not, So that's why I was super excited to join this panel today, to join you all, to hear what you all are doing in your markets, and then also share what I'm doing in mine with them. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And I love how you shifted your marketing dollars digitally. And I think agents too, if you have the money to spend, a lot of these digital platforms are down like 40 to 90% on spend. And so you can get a lot more reach and a lot more audience if you do have those marketing dollars to shift on those digital platforms. So that's big. Carrie, I'll go with you. I know you said you had something to add about talking to customers.
Yes, and I couldn't agree. You guys are right on the market. Even as a company, we have 41 offices, and we've shifted all of our marketing from print, which we do a lot of print and newspapers in various markets, to digital, because that is where we need to be right now. But in terms of speaking to the customers, we're a ninja company. And so one thing we really preach, and I really believe in it, is ask, don't tell. So right now, don't be the person who has all the answers, because we don't have them. Ask how they're doing, how are they feeling, but more importantly, listen and try to find out what their tolerance to risk is, because that's really where we can find out where the business is today, tomorrow, and the next day. So one of the other things that we like to share is statistical information. So one thing that's really key is that if you look at history, year-over-year appreciation since 1975, even if you include the period during the recession of 2008 to 2012, there has been a consistent 5% increase in appreciation. So even though the market is crazy to try to predict right now, we can tell you that even if you look in the past, things are still moving. And additionally, this isn't caused this time by an economic crisis. This is a pandemic. It's a little different. So if you have a tolerance for risk, it doesn't mean that perhaps you shouldn't partake if you're economically prepared to do so.
I love that. Thank you, Carrie, for sharing. That's so important. And I'm going to go with Bobby because it looks like you have a fan. This is actually pretty funny from Robin. Looks like he's sitting on his throne about to address his people. Bobby does a really funny class called Game of Homes, where he has this image behind him of the Game of Thrones thing. So go for it, Bobby.
Thanks, Robin. I appreciate the confidence boost. But yeah, I mean, I love what you guys are saying. You know, if you guys are listening to this and you hear Brian say, "Hey, I'm doubling down on my marketing," or "I'm shifting to digital marketing," you know, that's actually a principle. And I think in these times, what you have to follow is principles rather than, like Sean said, you know, following the media or whatever the case may be. There's no success book that you'll ever read that doesn't talk about the fact that in times like this, the people who capitalize or get wealthy or get to the next level actually run the opposite of where the crowd goes, right? So when they run in fear, you run towards that pain because there's going to be massive opportunity there. And so the first thing when it comes to messaging, I think it's important that, you know, the agents that are with us understand the mindset they need to have in this time, because if you don't, it's so easy to spiral into this news cycle, like Sean said, and then, you know, you feel like you're lost, where if you really focus on what's going on, there's massive opportunity. On an agent level, I think that there's a couple of things that you can do right now. Like if you're anything like me, I don't know if you guys ever do disc personality profiles and things like that. I'm obviously a very social person. I'm all over the place. And I think a lot of the realtors are like that. So during this quiet time, hey guys, you should work on your CRM. You know, you should learn your systems. You should put your marketing in place. It's quiet right now. At least, I mean, at my house it is. I understand that there's kids banging on your door, Vanessa, and things like that. But for the most part, even people with kids have managed to actually shut their door and sit there for 6, 7, 8, 10 hours, 12 hours at a time and crank workout. Guys, if you're an agent out there and you've been avoiding the systems, if you've been avoiding the technology, you know, not everybody is like a Sean Frank. He loves technology. I mean, I've been in your office, Sean, and you've shown me your technology. I'm like, dude, this guy loves this stuff. Like me, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I got to have somebody else do that. But if you're an agent right now, take charge of your technology, take charge of your marketing systems. The other thing is that, you know, my business partner, Gil, says we're in this COVID window. And the first thing you got to understand is that if you're out there, real estate is not shut down. Okay. Lenders are still lending money. Interest rates are still at historical lows. I always emphasize historical because that means in all of history, right? So like it's, you know, I was talking to Zach from Home First Lending. He's like, you know, some of these FHAs are quoting 3.25%. Guys, like that is cheap money. So, you know, if you were thinking about buying, if you still have a job and you're still able to do it and your credit score is good, guys, it's not a time to stop. But I do agree with what Sean said. It's not about trying to convince somebody. If somebody's just scared and they don't believe it, you know, it's more about what Carrie said, is just really finding out, you know, what they're scared of, what they need, and getting to know who they are. But the facts are the facts. The facts are we have historical lows. The facts is we're in this little COVID window where you might find some deals out there that you might have not seen prior. I mean, I think a lot of people were already waiting for a market shift. I mean, every major investor that I work with was kind of stacking up money, waiting for what we call winter to come, right? And we never saw the pandemic coming, but they knew that there was going to be a market shift. I never believed that in Orlando there was going to be these major price drops like in 2008. But in this COVID window, maybe there's an opportunity for you to get a great deal from a builder, a great deal from somebody who needs to sell right now, needs to get out. So those are all opportunities. And the messaging that I'm giving, I think it's time to start learning how to work with investors. I think investors are naturally, crave, a little bit more risk. So, you know, as Carrie said, maybe that's the market you need to shift to right now. And not only residential, but also commercial. I mean, think about how many people right now are going to I have friends that own a massive amount of commercial properties, and all their phones ringing off the hook, not with new deals, but with people saying they can't pay their lease. So all of that opens up opportunities for you as an agent to help people. For sale by owners is another one. I think it's just low hanging fruit. I picked up a for sale by owner. I just walked over and said, look, right now during this time, you're not going to get the attention that your property deserves. It wasn't going to get it anyway doing it as for sale by owner. Give me a shot. Let me sell this for you. I think this is a great deal, and immediately signed the paperwork. So, just spreading that message of opportunity, and also being a good resource, letting people know what's actually going on in the market, and not try to predict too far out into the future, but just take advantage of the current opportunities that are out there.
Perfect. I know Sean had something quick he wanted to add to that. Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, no, I really see that over the next few months, if things continue the track that they've been going, that there's going to be a ton of listing opportunities. Just in our property management division, I was actually surprised the numbers were low. About only 10% of our tenants could not pay their full rent. So I thought it was going to be higher than 10%. So that was promising, but that's only month one, right? So after month 2 or month 3, and owners cannot evict their tenants, there's going to be a need for quick sales, because a lot of these owners will get foreclosed on, or even though or they're just going to get so behind that they'll never get caught up again, right? Especially when you can't evict a tenant, and there's going to be people that lost jobs and they can't afford their mortgage. That's why you have to have genuine concern for people. They're not going to tell you they're having stressful financial situations. They're not going to open up and disclose that unless you are super, super close to them or they're at a very desperate time. So by reaching out and being authentic and really being, can I help you with anything at all? They're going to open up and you're going to find listing opportunities. I think that there could be so many listings hitting the market in the next few months. Somebody's going to get those listings. And, it's going to be the people that are reaching out and checking on homeowners and seeing how they're doing. So that's kind of what I wanted to add.
That's such a good point. And Bobby, really quick, where do you see, just from the commercial standpoint, because I know you run commercial and you were just talking about that with opportunities with tenants not being able to pay on commercial spaces. Do you see an opportunity for commercial properties to be coming on the market the same as residential that Sean was speaking on?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same deal where you're going to have, there's going to be people out there that are in the financial position to hold out. They can renegotiate leases with their tenants. They can do those kind of things and keep afloat. But there's some people that are just going to get, like I said, you either capitalize or you get caught, and there's some people out there that are going to have properties, and maybe they have a portfolio of properties and they realize, hey, look, right now I need to stack some cash. Let me sell these properties here at a decent price and get them off my portfolio just to get some cash influx in. And, as you know, in commercial, a lot of the valuation comes from the income something produces, right? So, if you have a strip plaza or you have an office building with multiple tenants in it, and, it was making you, $300,000 in, net operating income at one point, and now it's making you half of that. Well, and they decide to sell, well, the new investor that comes in is going to get a great deal on that property. So, I think that this is one of those times. And I just want to stress the fact that it's not the sentiment of capitalizing on other people's misery. There's people out there that genuinely are going to need your help. Those sellers that Sean was talking about will genuinely need your help. That commercial property owner needs that cash now. And it's going to be an opportunity for somebody to get a great deal, but it's also going to be a benefit to that person to get some money in the bank and save their business. And that's really what we have to talk about, is saying, hey, look, what do we have to do right now to get lean so that we can survive? So I absolutely believe in both commercial and residential going to be opportunities. And by the way, this switch to the digital, is going to, I think, very much like us. I mean, we have 8,000 square feet in downtown Orlando. I never thought we were using that effectively. I always thought we could do with at least 4,000. Well, guess what? There's going to be some changes made, right? So now even the people that can afford to pay in those buildings are going to say, I don't need this much space. All my people are working from home from now. I could do with half the space that I'm using. I mean, big box stores were already suffering. I can't imagine what's going to happen now. Best Buys were shutting down already because people were shopping online. Now, I believe that in just the past 2 weeks, we probably advanced the digital age by 20 years, and we're going to keep doing that. So by the time we get out, I think we're going to see a new marketplace, And to be quite honest, I think it's a marketplace we needed. Like, I think we were moving slow because there was all this bureaucratic stuff in place, but this whole pandemic is almost like a reset for your computer. You know, when something goes wrong with your computer and you can't get it to work, the first thing they tell you to do is shut it down and then turn it back on. I think we're shutting it down and we're turning it back on, and now we can kind of build it the way that we want to.
Perfect. Thank you, Bobby. And Vanessa, I mean, for you, your messaging and your tools have always been super important. You've always connected with your database. And I think, you told me a statistic about your database at one point in time where a lot of your clients had bought from you at least 3 or 4 times over the course of knowing them. So that was like your app. So you're a master of your database. So how have you really shifted your message now?
I mean, I think that for new agents, existing agents, seasoned agents, I think it's really important to go back to the basics. You know, call people that you haven't talked to in 5 years. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call them, because you would be shocked at how excited they are to hear from you. I mean, I've just noticed in my calling, I mean, my routine is A to Z. I go through my database A to Z. And I'm almost to Z. I started March 1st. And what I'm noticing, though, is people want to speak to you. They want comfort. They want assurance that they're going to be okay. I mean, 50% of my database is probably Disney employees. So a lot of them are very fearful right now. So it's just being that steady hand for them and just letting them know that no matter what, you're going to be there for them. And like Sean said as well, let's not speculate. I think that creates fear for people. I think we need to this is what it is today. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow, but the good news is I'm going to be here for you no matter what. You know, I tell people I've been in the business for 18, I'm here for another 18 for you, you know? So I think it's just good for people to go back to the basics and call their database. And 3 good questions, if new agents are listening or what have you, it's like, what are you seeing out there? How are you feeling about this? And what can I do for you right now? You know, those are just 3 kind of key questions that I think are and people will open up and talk to you. And what I'm realizing is it's taking me so long to go through my database because my conversations are 30 to 45 minutes per client. You know, it's not I'm busy now, I've got 2 minutes for you, what do you need, Vanessa? You know, it's more about what can I do for them in this time of need.
I love that. So I love how you are mastering the database with that. And those are some great techniques for agents. So I hope you're listening and taking some good notes. So, one thing I wanted to go into again with Vanessa, because you had talked about, really leaning out your business, and you were one of the first to kind of take a look at your operations and be like, okay, where do I need to shift dollars? And I think even mastering your database for so long, you probably have not spent a ton of money on online marketing. So, with your business being about 50% or your database being about 50% Disney employees, do you see a need to go into that digital space to spend some dollars, or are you really trying to lean out your business right now?
I mean, we are looking at the digital. I mean, Keller Williams just in of itself has some great digital platforms with our new systems and things of that nature. So things that I kind of put to the side before, we are looking at, Facebook ads and marketing and things like that, because at the end of the day, for agents, it's fairly inexpensive to get additional exposure to your Matterport tours, for example, for your new listings, because everyone wants to see things virtually before they schedule face-to-face. So just utilizing those, like I said before, I would just kind of say, oh, I don't need that. But now we do need that. I mean, we don't do Realtor.com, we don't do Zillow, we don't do any of those platforms because, I would say 99% of my business comes from my database. So, however, I think, it's about shifting your mindset and being able to take advantage of opportunity and increase your market share. And, we have room for new clients and new opportunities. And, we're in the service business. We're not in the sales business. So it's just differentiating yourself and telling people that I'm here for you long term. As I said, 18 years and I'm here for 18 more.
I love that. Great. Thank you. Anyone else want to add to anything on leaning out your businesses or what you've done?
Yeah, I'll speak to it real quick. You know, the first thing I would say is that you need money for a rainy day. Like they tell you when you get into the business, you should have 6 months to a year of income if you don't make a dollar. And every agent, every company out there should have had 6 months to a year of cash in the bank ready to go so that you can put in the stock market, so you can float a bad month or two, whatever it might be. So I think first and foremost, you have to have the money set aside so that you can survive this. You don't want to have to lay off people because you didn't save any money, right? So I think that that's first and foremost. You know, you should always be reevaluating monthly subscriptions and other things that aren't serving you, or things that maybe you're not getting enough value out of. So like, you know, we're doing that on an ongoing basis. So I didn't have to look at cutting costs when this happened, because I already knew that I do that at least 2 or 3 times a year where I go back through and reevaluate expenses. The other thing I wanted to say, which is a little off topic here though, is that I had an epiphany that that right now there's a lot of agents that, because they can't do it physically, they're assuming they can't do it at all, and they're giving up on finding virtual equivalents. I think we need to find virtual equivalents for everything that we used to do. Coffee meetings, lunches, like we need to find ways to not allow those normal activities to lapse just because we can't do them physically. So it's just something I wanted to add in, because I feel like it's a great way to, you know, run a mental exercise about how can I do this virtually the best equivalent to what I used to do physically. And I think that by doing that, you'll find a lot of opportunities out there.
For sure. Carrie, I know you wanted to add something as well.
More for the agents, but as we're shifting and going into more of a virtual space, which some agents were already comfortable in and others are learning, it's really important to think of 2 things. One right now is schedule your time, because if you're not time blocking, you know, you'll be at the end of the day saying, what happened to my time? I missed my whole day. So also, I think it's really important. Consistency does, as I believe Brian said, bring comfort. So if you can really get into that regular schedule of, okay, I'm getting ready, I'm going to work. Okay, now I'm with the family. We could really use this time as an opportunity to also get close with our family, get more into exercise, and really be able to focus on other things, maybe, dare I say, life-work balance. I don't know if that's possible, but that's another thing. And additionally, the second point is, if you are focusing more on a digital platform, even with database, even sending out emails, I suggest really adding engagement, because people are opening. Open rates are through the roof right now. So if you're going to send email, you're going to send things through your database, and make sure that you're giving them some hyperlinks to go to, bring them back to your website, get them engaging. What are they interested in? Where is the level of risk? It's a great way to sort of test and see where people are at in a very low-key manner. But, you know, it's interesting to see what you'll find. People are home and they're looking. And if you can have that reach out, then have that conversation about how they're feeling, how things are, and what their risk tolerance is, you may find business you didn't know was out there.
Love that. Brian or Bobby, you want to add anything to that? I know you had kind of already touched on the actual physical office space, leaning that part out. Anything else you guys are doing on your end?
On my end, to be honest with you, I mean, I think this is also a great time just for personal development. You know, things that, you know, like I said, we move so fast sometimes that, you know, we have all these things. Like I've had things on the list to like learn and do for a long time. And, you know, they just kind of get pushed off to the next week. So, you know, as you do the schedule, like Carrie said, put a couple of things on there that you've been wanting to learn, you've been wanting to do. You know, in my particular case, you know, for instance, EXP has something called Express Offers, which is similar to Zillow Offers or OfferPad. And as many of you guys know, Zillow Offers, OfferPad, Open Door, they're kind of just like stopping all operations right now. And I thought, and you have to get certified with EXP to be able to make cash offers on properties. And so I knew it was something that I had to do. But guess what? You know, when this whole, you know, thing happened and I'm sitting at home, I'm like, okay, now it's time to take the courses. Now it's time to get certified because I want to be prepared for the opportunities that are coming. And as far as leaning up the business, you know, I think everybody's kind of touched on that. You know, look through your bank statements, find out the subscriptions and things that you're not using, lean up, you know, figure out whether or not, there's expenses that you need or don't need. And as you start realizing that you can do a lot of the things that you do digitally, you're going to be able to cut expenses. One thing that I'm very fortunate to have is partners like Celebration Title Group, Home First Lending, and not just vendor partners, but with the EXP model, it's a big collaboration. So my partners are Veronica Figueroa, Josue and Rebecca Soto, Carlos German, all these guys. So you know what? We can share office space. I can use Celebration Title classroom space to teach our classes. I don't have to have everything centralized in one location. So I think when we come out of this, what I want to do is really have, a home base, but also be leveraging Home First Lending, Celebration, and our other EXP partners, and coming together and say, how do we all cut expenses together? And I think that's going to be huge for people. And honestly, I mean, even at Celebration Title in downtown, Amanda, you have like Agents Lounge, where agents can come work. So, even letting agents know that these things exist and say, hey, look, you need a nice place to take somebody, go to, Celebration Title's Agent Lounge. I mean, like it looks like a model home in there, right? So these are all things that I'm thinking about. And when we get out, I think we're going to be a lot leaner and a lot stronger.
For sure. Definitely. And Carrie, I know you wanted to add something really about the education. I know being in the business as long as you have, and you personally teach a lot of classes, and you've actually taught a couple of classes for us, which somehow you made contract 101 very fun, and it was great. But on the education piece, what's some sort of advice you can give to the agents as well?
Well, what I wanted to mention, I mean, like everyone has said, this is a perfect opportunity to take advantage of wanting to get to classes and things that you've always wanted to learn about. But as a licensed real estate instructor, I'm going to tell you, FREC has made an incredible announcement 2 days ago that anything that has already been a pre-certified CE class, they're now allowing it to be a CE class online, which beforehand, so I wrote a class for social media, I submitted to DBPR, they gave me the rights to charge that as a CE class, but I have to only follow it in person. Now, any in-person class that's a CE class can also be a CE class online. Incredible. It's only for 90 days, but so take advantage. Go to your board, see what classes that they're offering. Even though they have extended the renewal period, we know we still have to perhaps do some continuing education. So they're finding ways to even make that continuing education a virtual experience for everybody.
And Carrie, have you set up a time yet for your social media continuing education class, or are you still working on that?
I will be setting up more. Right now I'll be teaching for Oscar on Friday the 24th from 9 to 12, social media. So anybody who's a member with Oscar can sign up for that. They don't charge anything for it, and it's a CE class. It's 3 CE credits for social media training. But I will be doing more on contracts. I will be doing more on CE. So I'll certainly let you guys know, because it's a wonderful, and Amanda, we could do it through you guys too. So it's a great opportunity to get people to get ready for that renewal. Don't get too content in the fact that it was delayed. It's not delayed that far. So.
Yeah, definitely. But like you said perfectly, now's the best time for education, and we've taken a lot of all of our classes virtually, and I know a lot of people have. And again, like how Sean and Bobby commented, and I know KW as well, they've all taken their education online and sharing it to more than just your own independent brokerages. You guys are sharing it across the board. So I love the collaboration. That's amazing. And I love how Sean commented, we're saving a ton of money on meals and entertainment and events, right? I can definitely feel that one as well, which is amazing. So I kind of want to go into just a couple of individual questions. One really, a big one for Brian is kind of your brand has always been you. And, one thing that you didn't mention, and even though you're very new in the business, 2 years in, but you're a go-getter, you're a hustler, you were a small business owner prior to this. And you owned a hair salon, and I know that you're so big on community and your small business owners right now, which is they need your support more than ever. And I think your message and your brand is really tailored towards, doubling down on your community. And if I'm not mistaken, you even offered to give your hair salon to like somebody who wants to own a business. You were just going to give it away, which is incredible. So share more about that and how that looks.
Well, I actually did give it away. The new owner takes possession of the keys on the 14th, next Tuesday.
So
I'm emotionally connected, but I'm super honored and excited to be financially able to give away a business. I even gave away the rights to its branding and the logo, as much as I'm sad to see her go. But I'm super excited for the new owners. Yes, I'm all about community, like you said, like leading up into this pandemic. It was meeting clients at local restaurants, bistros, coffee houses, knowing that, you know, you can't predict what was coming, but you can speculate and see what's going on in the media. So you kind of knew what was coming. So we definitely support it that way. I'm always donating to local schools for their food drives and stuff. As you know, our friend Stephanie Cathy has an awesome thing here in Daytona at Lennon's Lunchbox, and helping that out, donate and support her always. And just giving back to that community, and the community then in return gives it back to you as well. So having experience in hair and owning success through small independent chains of salons, and then being a VP for a company. And I took all of that sales knowledge and ownership knowledge and that community and that customer appreciation from owning my own business, and then just translate that to real estate. It really was an easy 1, 2, 3 flip over. And then, yeah, so the big giveaway we just did was my salon. I was trying to sell it, of course, but then I got thinking to myself, and I just, you know, I was raised Catholic, so I just kind of said a little prayer and I asked for a sign, and the next thing I know, I got this idea to do a giveaway, and I got this great feeling from it, and we did, and I was really surprised, Amanda and everybody, because we got over like 50 shares and like over hundreds of comments, but we only had like literally a handful of people that actually grasped the reality that it was real. You'll be amazing how negative people are, and like, is this for real? Are you really giving it away? And it's like, yes, it was like you had almost convinced the public, like, yes, we're actually giving back to the community, people. We actually care. That's what drives us to our success. And then it was like, then a friend brought to my attention that right as it was closing, and I picked the owner, and the owner got approved for the lease, and we already started doing all that paperwork. But it was really just really humbling to know too that several people reached out to me from the community that I did not know, did not have any connection to, and was like, for a local agent, you really just felt you set yourself apart, because I've never seen any human, let alone a realtor, who in our area is all like, they think we're all just rich, I guess, but we're not. We just work hard. So yes, it was a really humbling thing to see the community reach back and just say, wow, thank you for doing that. And I'm so excited for the new owners. I cannot express that enough. So yes, I love giving back to the community, and that's what really helps our business and my team, because the one thing I preach every day, it's human over houses, people over properties. And it's all about, we're customer driven. So the Griffin difference for me started when I got into this business, watching agents like yourselves that have been there, done that, tried and true. And the one thing I really gathered from everything was, you got to have a stitch. You got to have that little niche that is different. And so I wanted to be different. And so then my last name's Griffin. So perfect. We created the Griffin difference. And it's your difference between for sale and sold, or experience the Griffin difference as a standard. We have amazing strategic partners that help co-brand, and we're all over the community doing things. We're involved with everything we can be. I have a 10-year-old that I'm adopting, and so I'm very much involved with his sports. I definitely will coach, or I will pay for the sponsoring. That really helps. Right now I'm a 5th grade teacher part-time, while doing real estate full-time, so it's kind of crazy, but just really giving back. And even with the people that won the salon, their friend played on my son's football team, and he remembered when I sponsored the photo shoot for the team pictures, and how cool was that he was then able to reconnect them to me. And it's just amazing. It is that touch, that personal touch, what helps stand you apart from anybody else. I painted ceilings in houses as helping my customers get ready for their listings. My team member, Stephen Lewis Ralston, he does landscape design on the side. We've done 4 redesigns on houses. And we sponsor that. So we put a little thing that says this garden was brought to you by the Griffin Difference team with Oceans Luxury. And just people love seeing that, and they love knowing that we give back. We're constantly giving portions of every one of our closings back to the community or back to it. We always gift about 10% worth of our commission back to our customer that had us, whether it's in household items, things they'll need moving forward. And it's just amazing. It's amazing how organic your business can be, just being a good human. Really.
I love that. I love that. And leading with passion, you can really see it when you talk about your community, and you're doing something that's so much bigger than real estate. And that's what it's all about. That's where you get the good feelings inside, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's, if you could give one word of advice to agents right now to really find their brand or to find their niche, what would you say? Where would you tell them to start? I think now's the best time than ever to really focus on you and your brand.
Find something you're passionate about, and then find a way to relay it into your business of real estate. And then it would automatically manifest and you will see it. Like you say, when I talk about the community, I love people. I'm passionate about people. I've always have been. I love to create beauty, as I've done hair for 14 years. And then I went into sales and read, oh, I can do this. And then taking that same passion for people, I'm wanting to take and turn it into my business. So my biggest thing for a new agent is find what you're passionate about, create a concept, something that's memorable. I walk around this town and people yell, hey, there's the Griffin Difference. And then you want something that could be remembered, something that you can passionately survive. Don't make something up like Sally sells the seashore. Are you only selling the seashore? No, you want to make something bigger than just you. So for me, it was like I created a concept, a standard, and then made it a team. And now hopefully we'll be a brokerage by the end of the year or beginning of next. So you never know. So I would really just
I'm confident that you will.
Yes.
For sure. With hustle and heart that you have, I have no doubt. So kind of going into some more individual questions. With Sean, I really wanted to touch base on your back office system that you call AVE, right? And the way that you have built that. You kind of touched on it at the beginning of how that has really helped you in a time like this to be able to adapt very quickly and go into your systems and shift things. So how does that really help your agents now more than ever? And are there any other things that you're seeing that you guys are adding on that would really benefit agents in your office?
So with our system in particular, our 911 emergency was getting wire transfers down for every single one of our commissions. Like we wanted to make sure we get our office admin out of the office. And it was like, that was all hands on deck for like 2 weeks to make sure we could get that done. And our system made all the difference really, because we were like, yes, wire transfers. And then we're like, oh, wire fraud, it's like, and then we're like, okay, now how are we going to you have to have at least a 2-step verification process to some degree to prevent wire transfer. The more checks and balances you have, the better. And within a couple of weeks, we had our developers set it up so that closing instructions get automatically emailed to title, where they sign the closing instructions, then deliver the wire instructions, then an automated email that comes after confirming the last 4 again. So things that I don't know how we would have done it otherwise. It would have been really manual and created a lot of opportunities for wire fraud. And so that was a huge thing for us. We're also focused on ways so that was a big thing in terms of our back-end system and one of the things we wanted to do right away. But we're also just looking at other things that are more traditional in nature, like how do you take the open house experience and make it virtual? So we want to encourage our agents, don't give up on open houses. It's like now's the time to find new ways to connect with prospective buyers. So we're talking about hosting Facebook Lives and having other ways that people can find and discover those Facebook Live open houses and things along those lines. So that might not be our specific tech, but we're trying to leverage as many tech avenues as we can to make sure that we're not saying, oh, we can't do that anymore. It shouldn't be, we can't do that. It should be, how can we do that virtually? Or like how, just so that you have a sign-in sheet at an open house, or you have buyers that ask questions. How can you try to recreate those kinds of experiences to the best of your ability. So we're looking at those things a lot, but you know, other than by preventing checks from coming into the office, you can really, that's how you become paper free. That was our last piece of paper that was holding us down. So getting wire transfers is actually, it forced us to evolve really quick. One of the things that I love to see, despite all of the things that are going on in the world, is that industries are evolving so fast. They're doing things in weeks that would have taken them years or they would have never done. I mean, just in like a week after shutdown, or even before the state shutdown, you get to go alcohol in Florida. Like, you know, it's just like, that would have never, ever happened. And it's just amazing to see, wow, if they can do that quickly, what are other industries doing to fast track their innovation, their necessities? Because we're only in this position now where you have to innovate to survive. So I think the companies that do it are going to going to end up on top, you know, while you're going to see the companies that are going to go out of business. So innovation is the name of the game right now. And I think that we can't really see the clear path entirely when it comes to what the opportunities are yet. I mean, we're starting to figure it out, but innovation. And I think a lot of that comes through pooling knowledge with other people. I mean, I've been not only collaborating with my agents, but other brokers in the business one-on-one, going really deep on conversations about what they're experiencing too. So we just focus on adaptability, innovation. Those are the things that we need to be honing down in more than anything else.
Perfect. That's amazing. Thank you, Sean, for that. And Carrie, just from your perspective as well, and I know you're big on helping agents with their brand, and that's something that's super important to you. What's that messaging that you're giving to your agents to be able to manage and really hone in on that brand? And what is your corporation doing overall to really help your agents stay on top?
So Premier Sotheby's is a large organization, so we were able to mobilize quickly. Everybody's been working from home for 2 weeks, and we already do direct deposits, so we have not had an issue with any of the back office. So really for the agents, it's been business as usual in terms of the support. We have a full service marketing team that has already been working from home again for 2 weeks. So that has been great. But what really I think the company has done to prepare, I myself do my trainings. I'm big in training. So I do a lot of training that I did during the week. I do them all online now. The marketing team is offering a whole slew of services. We're also bringing in some national trainers to do some online. So we've got a whole full week of, like I said, Zooms, a lot of Zooming. But it is great. Lots of education, lots of opportunity. But what I'm trying to say to my agents is you have a very unique opportunity now to stop and look at your business. It's time to decide, who do you want to be? Who are you? And what do people already think about you? So I like to recommend a branding exercise. So especially anybody new out there, you might like this one. It's fun. Ask yourself, if someone said, tell me about Carrie, what would the 5 words I wish they would say are? Write them down and don't tell anybody. Then ask your family, your friends, what are 5 words you'd use to describe me? Then go back and see if you see any of them in your testimonials, because this is how you know what you've been doing so far for branding. You have a really great picture to decide, have I been branding myself well, or do I need to tweak a couple things? So start there, then really decide what your value proposition is. What do you do differently than everybody else? Vanessa's amazing, Brian's fantastic, everybody here is incredible, but what are you doing that's different from everybody else? What are your special, unique things that you've learned throughout your life that you're bringing to the table that's different? And that will help in 2 ways. It'll help you really clarify how they should work with you, because you're going to give them a different experience. So that's, you have your brand, you have your company's brand. So you really have to stand up in the sea of sameness, right? And the third thing you really want to focus on is making sure you're consistent with that branding in all your messaging. So especially now, we're being so virtual, going out there doing a lot more social media posts. Really create that content calendar. Think about what you really want your messaging to be and be true to it. Make sure that on Instagram, you look one way, and on Facebook, you look another way. Yes, there's a different audience on each, but be sure that it's your value that you're sharing and it's really incorporating who you want people to know you truly are. So that's probably one piece of information that I think it's great for a newer agent or someone who's been in the business a long time who just wants to look at this as a new opportunity to really say, who am I? What do I offer? And where do I want my business to go in the next year, and the next 5 years, and the next 10 years? So it's a great exercise.
I love that. Working on your branding, building your business plan, and really being hyper focused. So I love those tools. So going to Bobby, I know something that's super unique. Obviously, EXP has been virtual from the start, but you guys put a really unique spin on classes that you offer, and a lot of it has to do with mindset. And I think a lot of agents are wanting that now, and a lot of it they can't afford. And what are some tools and techniques that you can give them to really focus on mindset, how important it is? And I know you are building out a coaching program. You guys have this Dead Agent Society. What does that really look like for agents, and how can they utilize it and really stay in the right mindset?
Yeah, so we believe you can't build a business before you build a person. And my business partner Gil and I have, obviously, a lot of people know we're big Tony Robbins freaks, right? Amanda, you've been to Unleash the Power Within, and I've been to about 8 or 9 Tony Robbins conferences. And what you realize is that when you peel down the layers, it just comes down to what people believe about themselves and the stories that they have in their heads, and from coaching agents for the past 3 years, I realized that you can give them the best branding plan, you can give them the best business plan, but if they go home and tell themselves they're not worth it, or that they're not good enough, or they're not worthy, they're not going to take the necessary actions to do that. So we try to have a foundation of personal development, and whenever I encounter an agent, you can almost, after you do this long enough, you kind of just know, like, oh, I already know your story. Like, I already know what you're telling yourself. And you can often just by the words they use. I mean, I have agents in my office that'll come in and I'll literally just put my hand up, like, stop. What you said right there, don't ever say that again. I was like, your words have power. Thoughts are things. They create an energy around you. They attract different things to you. So we try to lay a foundation of personal development in everything we do. I almost say we're a personal development company that happens to do real estate. And this is something that Gil and I believe in. And that's led us to form a coaching company called the Dead Agent Society. And our tagline is the death of the agent and the rise of the real estate entrepreneur. So we're really trying to get people to think about themselves as an entrepreneur and as a business owner rather than just an agent. I think especially in times like this, when the market is shifting, you can't just be an agent. I mean, think about 2008. That was a weed out, right? The people who were dabbling, the people that, weren't, really looking at their business like a business, were gone. And I think a lot of people are going to be gone now because they didn't have that right mindset. So I believe that that's the foundation for everything that we do. One thing that Gil and I like to say is, we kind of like to teach like street level real estate, right? So there's a lot of very mechanical training out there, but we really want to tell you, how to talk to a client, how to negotiate in certain situations, how to build great relationships with agents. I mean, before even this EXP thing, I always saw massive value in connecting with great agents. Why? Because one, I could tell you right now, in the past couple of years, there's been about 3 deals that would have never gotten done unless I knew the agent on the other side, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is that agents have access to deals I might not know about, a lot of off-market deals. They have access to connections. So, having that foundation of building great relationships with other agents and collaborating, I think, is something that that we always believed in, but now it's kind of on steroids with this EXP model. The other night, we actually did, like many people, we did like a happy hour, but we called it the superhero happy hour, and it was led by Veronica Figueroa. And it was just like, tell us what your favorite superhero is and like what you're doing right now. And she's like, let's not just talk business, let's just like get together. And when I looked at that Zoom screen of like, 40, 50 people that were on there, I looked around and I was like, you know what, in times like this, you got to ask yourself, who you want to go to battle with. And I love the squad. I mean, I love this squad. I mean, I'll go to battle with any one of these guys on this call, because I can sense their energy, drive, and passion, and they have a similar mindset. So I think in the end of the day, if there's one thing, even on the branding side that you can take advantage of, anybody right now, whether you're an agent, is build your audience right now. Everybody's watching, put your brand out there. As long as you've got great ethics and you're a great person and you have great energy, you're going to attract your tribe. It's not about everybody liking what you do. I mean, we have some of our fans. I appreciate all the people doing comments right now. Well, this is our tribe, but guess what? There might be 20 people out there that are like, you know, F Bobby, I don't like this guy, you know, and that's okay. That's okay, because that's not who we're trying to attract. We're really trying to attract our own energy and our own people. And keep that in mind. It's time to build your audience, guys. It's time to build your brand. And we're going to keep coaching agents like we always did. Matter of fact, we're going to turn it up and really put our Dead Agent Society brand out there in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And I think you're going to see that brand grow exponentially because of this pandemic situation.
So if you could give a resource or anything for agents that are craving mindset right now, that might be free or somewhere they can just go to do, or a tool or technique to do every day, a strategy to really stay in the right mindset, what would that be?
Couple of things. So number one, as a personal routine, guys, you got to wake up every day and you have to have some time to either pray, meditate, and if anything, just a simple gratitude session. You know, we can get caught up in these thoughts that the world is ending, but guess what, guys? I mean, I'm sitting in a house right now. I'm okay. And there are a lot of people out there that are suffering. You got to look around and see what you're grateful for. And if you can start the day like that, just in a gratitude mindset, it's going to set the stage. Number two is you got to spend a little bit of time on personal development. I mean, you need to listen to those Tony YouTube videos. You need to read books. You need to listen to those audible things, because guess what? You don't fix this. The training never stops, right? Like, there's garbage trying to enter your mind every second of every day, and you have to guard your mind, which means that every single day you have to wake up and kind of shovel the crap from the day before out and start in a great mental state in order to achieve the things you want to achieve. And then just a quick plug, I will be doing a class coming up on the 24th with Celebration Title Group called Becoming the Investor Agent. So every one of my classes, I have a heavy mindset portion of it. So on the 24th, it's a Zoom class. I believe it's at 10 a.m., Amanda, and it's called Becoming the Investor Agent. If you guys want to register from that, you can go to bobbyfranchise.com. That's my rap name. No, bobbyfranchise.com. Go there. It's on April 24th. And I really do think that if you're an agent out there, one of the main reasons you might have gotten into real estate is to become an investor. And I think right now is the best time to not only get into an investor mindset so that you can be the investor, but also so that you can work with more investors at this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Bobby. And each one of you, definitely, when we get off this call, put your contact details in the comments if anyone was watching it that wants to reach out to you individually. And we can clearly see where your passion is in the business, Bobby. The same with Brian. I know Carrie wanted to touch on one technique for mindset.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to share, I've been in the industry for so many years in so many different parts of real estate. So I've seen national trainers, local trainers, probably all of them. But we, as a company, chose to be a ninja company. That, if you have not read the Ninja Selling Book, is fabulous. It hits on mindset, first and foremost. It hits on neurolinguistic programming, how to communicate with people. It hits on how to set your day up, how to be productive, but how to get a work-life balance, how to spend the morning working on your business and the afternoon working in your business. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And you can read it for free. So I don't know how many of you guys out there know, they're the National Association of Realtors. We have a free membership to all of us. So you can go into the nar.realtor, and you can go ahead and put your NERDS number in and log in, and you have access to a huge library. Some things are ebooks, some things are Audible, and even if you use apps like Overdrive or Reading, you can actually connect to that National Association of Realtors library, and you can access a ton of fabulous books that you want to read or listen to, listen to while you jog or something. Not that I jog, but I get on my bike. That's good. So I'm just suggesting that you, through your National Association of Realtors, have a ton of tools as well. So it's a great opportunity, and I highly recommend the Ninja Selling. Great book.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie. I did not know that about the National Association of Realtors. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking at that resource catalog now. So just to kind of last question, really, and this one's going to be for Vanessa before we open it up for any comments. We talked about brand with Brian. We talked about mindset with Bobby. And we talked about the marketing suite and all the tools and stuff that Mainframe offers with Sean, and then of course again brand with Carrie. But the one other thing we touch on is the database, and you being kind of the master of that database. If somebody's at home and they want to get started on their database, what did it look like for you when you first started? And I know you've developed all the way into having an inner circle, which is what you call your VIP clients. You know, where did you really start that, and how did that trend come about?
I mean, I think that starting with your spheres, talking to your family, talking to your friends. I mean, if you're new in the business, you probably don't have an existing database. So starting with your friends and family and asking those 3 questions, what are you seeing? How can I help you right now? And, and then naturally people are going to say, wait, you're a realtor, aren't you? And then it's naturally going to turn into a housing discussion, and that's what I'm finding when I'm talking to my clients. Vanessa, what are you seeing in the housing market? What should we be aware of? So I created a text thread to my clients, particularly because I said earlier, a lot of my clients are Disney employees. So I created a text thread for them, letting them know, hey, I'm here. Here are some resources. Here are some websites. Sent them the unemployment website, sent them the Freddie Mac about the mortgage forbearance websites. And I said, pass this along to anybody that you know, and it's just being present with them and, just start small, but come from contribution. Again, we're not in the sales business right now. I always come from service first. Sales will come naturally, organically as you develop those relationships. My expression is don't chase the commission, chase the relationship. Many of my clients I've had relationships with for 10 plus years. And for me, it's not about being salesy. It's about being present with them in the time of need and crisis. So it's, start small if you don't have a database. If you do have a database, as I said earlier, do not be afraid to call those people that you haven't talked to in 5 years. I'm sure they would love to hear from you and say, what's going on in the housing market? I mean, again, naturally it comes up in conversation. So do not be afraid to call people that you haven't spoken to in years. And, the people that I talked to March 1st, when I started going through my database A to Z, as soon as I finish, I'm going to start calling A's again, because you know what? Things have changed in 4 weeks since I first spoke to them. So, be consistent, create time blocking. These relationships are more important now than ever.
I love that. So what is that saying though? The best database or the best CRM that you use or the best CRM is one that you use, right?
Absolutely.
so just get there. Yes,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for that. And, being a resource is something that I'm super passionate about as well. And I know you are. So if you guys are listening, just being a resource and being an ear for people right now is what's most important. Anything else that you guys want to add, and any final words to any people listening or anyone out there?
I mean, while I'm still off mute, I'll just say, one of the things that I would take advantage of this downtime, because, for me in my business, I'm busy all the time. I mean, I'm go, do. And I'm really taking this downtime, although I am busy throughout the day and I do time block my time. I'm really taking advantage of self-care, finding out what are my new short-term goals? What are my new long-term goals? Where do I want to see my business tomorrow, a year from now, 3 years and 5 years? Because honestly, it looks a little bit different than it used to, because I think you realize what priorities are. Taking more time with my family, is one thing that I'm going to admit to. I didn't time block for, but you know what? At 5:30, I'm done, and I'm going downstairs and I'm being present with my family. So I think just working on creating new habits for yourself, and then when you get back to some sort of normalcy and you can be actively out with clients showing property, not having to wear a mask and gloves, don't forget the habits you created. Don't go back to the way business used to be. This is a new normal, and we need to take advantage of that.
For sure, definitely. Carrie, I know you mentioned you wanted to share a free tool as well.
Yeah, for me, if it's free, it's for me. That is my motto. So, real estate, we are the biggest walking target. I don't know if everybody's noticed how many more calls you're getting to sell you stuff, but really there's so many free tools out there for everyone to use. So if speaking to Vanessa about your CRM, many brokerages will give you a CRM, but if you do not have that, I recommend HubSpot, HUBSPOT.com. You want to do the free CRM. And even with my international brokerage, I literally used a free CRM, believe that or not. And it has never changed. They've never said you can't use it. Now, they will try to trick you, and they will offer you the free trial for the sales or the marketing. Just be careful. You'll get in, you'll start falling in love with the tools, and they'll all say, oh, that's $50 a month. And you might not care because it's $50 a month. But again, you can use the free version. It's fabulous. It has engagement. You can do templates. It is a fabulous tool, and it's my favorite thing, free.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Carrie. Any final words, Brian, from your end?
I would like to just say, recapping from everything, is just remember, stay true to yourself. Focus on you, drive in your own lane. Everybody's doing great things here on this panel. I appreciate all that I learned from sitting on these panels and what I have to offer to everybody else. Just remember, take what you will, implement it into your business, stick to your lane, and your own success will happen.
Awesome. From you, Sean, any final comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think that many agents for years have been chronic, like independent contractors in the aspect that they never collaborated with the office. They never went to trainings. They really were isolated, very independent contractor mentality. And I think that to a large degree, any agent that has isolated themselves from years from their office or their industry, they need to start engaging and building relationships and go to trainings and reach out, mastermind with other agents. This is not the kind of thing that you can get through if you're not getting outside perspectives. So if you are one of those agents that has been going, head down like this for years, it's time to start reaching out and building relationships and collaborating with other people in the industry. Everybody is in uncharted territories. Everybody's willing to share information. I see brokers sharing things that they would have never shared before, things that would have been proprietary are now, hey, let's open source this, let's collaborate, let's all get through this together. So anybody that is not in that mentality of connecting and sharing and masterminding, and if anybody that's been on their own a little too long needs to drop all those habits and start connecting with people right now. I think it's the only way we're going to get through this.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. And that's why these panels and sharing are so important, because you're going to see those people definitely get squeezed out that aren't looking for guidance and aren't being authentic and reaching out. So Bobby, any final words from you?
Yeah, and I'll kind of relate this to a real estate example. I know Sean and myself and probably a lot of you guys work in the downtown Orlando area. And if you ever walked into one of those old downtown houses, you know when they've done add-ons and additions, when you walk into a crazy floor plan and you're just like, man, this is a funky floor plan, right? And really what happened there was somebody had a little house, and then over time they wanted an extra room, so they added this, and then they wanted a sunroom and they added this. But the reality is, if they had it to build it from the very beginning, they would never build it the same way. If that property got leveled, they would build it totally different. And I think the industry is getting leveled, and your business is getting leveled, and it's not a bad thing. It's how do you want to build it from now on? And don't waste this pandemic. It's that time. And not even just in real estate, guys. There's things in your life right now. There's people in your life that you might have been thinking like, there's some people who's quarantining with some people right now that are like, after I get out of this, I'm out, and that's okay, because you know what? You need to guard your mind and your energy the same way you guard your business. So, use this time to build it the way you want it, not just in your real estate business, but for the rest of your life and how you want to live life and who you want to be. And that just touching on the same thing Vanessa said. It's that same sentiment, which is just don't waste this time. Use this to build the life that you want, so that when you get out, you're the person that you always wanted to be.
I love that. Thank you so much for that comment. And Carrie's got one more last thing.
I just wanted to say, we always talk about farming in real estate, and we have to look at this, period of time where we're all at this, stay order, right? We're all stuck in our homes. This is such an opportunity for us, as everyone's saying, to connect, but also it's an opportunity to plant seeds, right? Because what happens when you plant seeds? It takes time, but over time they will grow and flourish. And this is the time you can reach people. You can plant little seeds about what's happening with the market, what's happened this month versus last month. Things are still happening. And that will lead to beautiful relationships and certainly more business as soon as we get on the other side. So I just wanted to share, look at this as an opportunity, not only to share, not only to connect, but to plant some seeds.
Definitely. I love that on farming, as I'm sitting here watching like a million neighbors walk by, right? You've never seen so many people walking the neighborhood that you probably would have never seen to begin with. So the opportunity to connect is literally right outside your door. So thank you guys so much for this panel. I think a lot of people definitely learned a lot. I will, share this on social media. There's a ton that new agents got from this. I love your servant hearts, your leadership in our community, and keep doing what you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.